Also, I've spoken a lot about women who have families and spouses, etc. But as a single woman living alone, you still need that
Yes.
moment to
Right.
decompress. Don't turn the TV on yet. Just sit down and give
Right.
yourself like even I'm a widow actually. My husband died several years ago, and we didn't have children. And even though I live alone, I still sit in the car, for a few minutes, and I might be listening to music. I might be thinking a little bit
Right.
before I go into the house. So,
Right.
just find some type of strategy or technique that works for you that will allow you to come back to yourself after you've given out to the world in whatever
Right.
way that you are, just to come back to yourself, reconnect, reset, and then you go into your house and you're like, okay, I can think now. I'm not angry or I'm not frustrated at
Right.
the what life's given me for that day. And those are some of the shifts that you can make, just to give yourself a few minutes, give yourself permission to just be
Yeah.
and start, allowing yourself to just let the day wash over you. It's over with. Let me connect with myself. What am I thinking? Get yourself some tea or whatever it is, whatever it is, you establish some way to pull yourself together so that you can function for the rest of the day or the week or however you set it up.
Hey, gorgeous. Welcome to Unapologetically 50 Plus. Many women over 40 are holding a lot of roles at the same time. You're building careers, supporting families, showing up for everyone who depends on you. And somewhere along the line, something quietly starts happening. Your responsibilities keep growing, but your dreams start getting pushed further and further to the side. Not because you stop caring about them, but because you start wondering if pursuing them would disrupt the stability you work so hard to build. So the real question becomes this: is it possible to honor the people you love and still honor the woman you're becoming? That's what we're talking about today. And I'm joined by Ari Osborne. She is the founder of Rise Up Empowerment Coaching, where she helps women over 40 connect with their dreams, reclaim themselves, and move forward with confidence and faith. But before I bring her on, I have one huge favor to ask. If you find any value or enjoy the content, please remember to like, subscribe, and comment. Your engagement really does help build this channel. So thank you. I truly appreciate your support. All right, let's bring her on and let's get this conversation started. So thank you for joining me, Miss Ari, and we're going to talk about your business. We are going to talk about a lot of things that a lot of us 40 plus want to hear. So let's just go ahead and get started. So for many women over 40 who are holding careers and families, responsibilities, and even personal dreams at the same time, where do you see them losing themselves the most?
Well, hello everyone. My name is Ari Osborne, and I'm the founder of Rise Up Empowerment Coaching, and I'm here based in Teaneck, New Jersey. And I'm just gonna, we could talk more as we go along, but I'm gonna start with answering your question. I think the ladies lose themselves most in their family responsibilities. A lot of times, what happens is that they're married, or they have children, or they're a single mother, or they're a caretaker. That seems to weigh more on them than that career. They want to make sure that they're not walking into a house full of chaos. They want to make sure that the kids are taken care of, that the family's taken care of, the husband, etc. So a lot of times, although there may be dreams that they have in the back of their minds that they've always wanted to do, they take a back seat to, I got to keep the family together. I got to have that routine together, or that rhythm tight. I got to make sure that, or everything is smooth at the household level. So I think that's where they start to lose themselves most, because they feel like the burden, and burden is not really a good word, but the responsibility of making sure that the home is running well way outweighs anything else that they might be thinking about doing.
Okay. And you're right. You know what? I forgot to ask you. Go ahead. Introduce yourselves. Tell people about who you are, what you do, and how you help.
Okay. Well, again, my name is Alrie Osborne, and I am the proud founder of Rise Up Empowerment Coaching, and I am based in Teaneck, New Jersey. And I'm a former assistant principal of a high school in New York City. I retired back in 2022, October of 2022. And initially, I thought I was going to write this book about the antics that occurred during COVID, but COVID became very serious. And so it no longer was a laughing matter about not being able to get copies and just things like that. It just was too serious. But then I began to feel a call to help women who are struggling in their with their responsibilities, losing themselves, not able to show up for themselves. And I started the business called Rise Up Empowerment Coaching, and I do private coaching. I do small group coaching to help women who have lost themselves in life's responsibilities reclaim their identity as a woman, show up for themselves, and pull those dreams off the shelf so they could start living the life that they've always wanted for themselves.
And that's where we have a lot in common because that's the trajectory I'm on. So I'm more than happy to have you on because we, again, have a lot in common and have that same want to be able to help women, like you said, pull those dreams off the shelf because we've given so much of ourselves for decades that it's now time for us to, you know, do those things for ourselves now, put ourselves first, set those boundaries, and live this second half of our lives the way we see fit now. So thank you
Exactly.
for coming on and
And thank you for
spending this
having me.
time
I
with
really
me.
appreciate this wonderful opportunity.
So let me ask, in your opinion and the ladies that you've worked with, what does the loss of self usually look like in real life? Is it emotional exhaustion, resentment, silence? What have you experienced working with your ladies?
Well, I think it's all of the above. It's I put everything on hold to take care of the family. And then the family grows up, or sometimes you're divorced, or
Right.
sometimes the husband passes, or whatever situation, or you're just a single mom. You've just been doing life alone the whole time, or you're
Right.
just single in general. And you're, plodding along, you got to work because how else you going to live and eat? So you're working, 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 and you're putting all this energy into that. And then you look back and it's like, well, wait a minute. I always wanted to fill in the blank, start a candle making business or skincare line or clothing business. And see 20, 30 years pass and you start to feel like, well, you know what? I put all this energy into everybody else. Well, what happened to me? And
Right.
worse is when you go to people and say, yeah, I need your help. And they're like, can't help you. You're on your own. So
Right.
that's when the resentment starts to build and all the, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, and why didn't I do this when I really was interested? And so you have to sometimes women have to stand back and just look back at those things that they wanted to do and just say, you know what, I'm going to do this. I don't care how old I am. I've done everything for everybody else. I'm going to start saying no. I'm going to start making decisions that affect how my life is going to work out. So I find that, yeah, resentment is one of the things that manifests, feeling like I've done it for everyone else, but now it's my turn. It's my turn. So I'm going to start.
And I think that guilt, not the guilt, you said, the resentment, we feel guilty about the resentment that we feel, because we are told by society, you know, how we should do things at a certain age, what we should be doing. And then when you get to that age where your children are grown, or maybe, you have grandchildren, well, now you're the grandparent and you need to be doing this, this, and that. And then when you buck that system, when you say, I'm not here to, yes, I love my grandkids, but I'm not here to raise your kids.
Right.
I will help, or whatever the scenario is. That resentment grows. And if we don't take the time to figure out what we want, then we're just perpetuating the cycle. And we're not teaching our daughters how to, if we have daughters, how to say, okay, no, I've done what I was supposed to do. I went to school, I got the degree or whatever, or I went and got a great job or got a good job. I've been taking care of family. I've been taking care of parents sometimes, and now it's time for me to do what I want, so I don't have that resentment.
Well, you touched on a good point. I think when we want to move forward in our lives, we have a little apprehension about speaking to the people in our lives about the fact that I'm going to pay attention to myself now. And so there's a little bit of friction, a little bit of pushback from the people that you've been taking care of. When you finally say no, they're like,
Yeah.
what? What? What do you mean no?
Right.
So
That word is
you,
foreign to them.
right, right. You've always said yes. You've always even sacrificed your own needs and desires to satisfy the desires of other people or the people in your life. So when you finally make that choice to say, you know what, I'm going to put myself first this time, the people in your life may not understand it. So there may be several times of, you got to understand, I was there for you. You've got to give me
Right.
an opportunity for me to breathe and for me to live, and be
Right.
serious about it. Because when you do that, you have to be consistent about making that choice and about demonstrating that you are serious. It can't be, all right, I'll do it today, but not tomorrow. No, you have to
Right.
be as hard as it is to put your foot down and say no to the people in your life who you've been caring for all their lives. You
Right.
have to be serious about it. You have to it's the demonstration. Your actions are going to teach them, oh,
Right.
she's serious about pursuing this. Oh, okay, well, maybe I won't ask her this time, or maybe I'll do it myself,
Right.
you know,
Right. Right.
instead of asking ma, grandma, auntie, etc.
Exactly. So when a woman says she wants balance, what do you think she's actually asking for?
I think she wants time to just be alone to think. Give
Mm,
me a little space to be with myself. If you're giving out to others, that is extremely exhausting, whether it's the physical thing where you're taking your kids here, there, or everywhere, or whether you're donating time to your church or an organization. That putting out is extremely exhausting. So just to have a little balance where I just want to sit down and just be. I just want to think. I want to be alone. I don't want anybody calling my name. I don't want to have to make a decision. I don't want to have to say, I don't just let me balance my life
right.
by getting some time for me. I know you don't understand it, perhaps,
Right.
but this is what I need to get some balance in my life so that I can help you in the way that you need help. And I'm helping myself too, because I'm shutting things down for a little while. And I'm not saying ignore your family, shut the door and you don't come out. It's, you know what? I need an hour a day. I need 20 minutes in the morning or a half an hour in the evening.
Right.
Don't knock on this door. I remember growing up,
Right.
there were four
Yes.
of us.
I know what you're gonna say. Yeah.
My mother would go in the bathroom
Yes.
and we'd be like, why is she in there so long?
Right.
I guess we got four kids, all like 2 years apart.
Yeah.
Yes, you need a moment. And my father was there too. You need a moment.
Need a
And
moment.
so I think that's what they're looking for when it comes down to balance. Stop calling my name
Right.
and give me time to think for a moment, or even not think. Let me just get time to just decompress and breathe.
Right.
Let me put some music on. Let me read a book. Let me just watch TV for a
Right.
few minutes,
Right.
without the interruptions and the constant think for me actions.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So do you think, and maybe you kind of touched upon this a little bit, but I'm gonna ask, is balance really about time or is it about permission?
Um, I think it's giving yourself permission to stop for a moment. And yes, that time is part of it because you're going to set some time for yourself, but it's the permission and not feeling guilty about saying no, not feeling guilty about telling the family, I need time for myself, not feeling guilty for serving leftovers or saying, we'll order something, or
Right.
you're, 15, 16, it's time for you to learn how to cook
Thank
for the
you.
family,
Right. Right.
so that kind of thing. It's giving yourself the permission to allow yourself to reclaim yourself as a woman.
And how would you, when you're working with your ladies, how do you help them get to that point where giving themselves permission is okay?
Hmm. Well, I call it my rise up framework, where I have the women
Hmm.
reflect and reclaim their identity. Who are they when nobody's calling their name? When
Mm,
they're doing the thing that they would love to do for themselves, who are they?
right.
When there's no mommy, there's no wife, there's no honey bunny, there's none of that. There's no Mrs. Manager. Nobody's calling you, nobody's assigned any role to you. Who are you? So start
Right.
reclaiming that. Who are you as a woman and your own identity? And then I had them ignite their intention and be inspired by your own intention. What is it that you're looking to do? Ignite your vision. Who are you What is it that when you dreamed about, as you were a child, outside of family, outside of work, career, when you thought about, oh, if I could ever own this or do this, what's that thing? And then start putting that back on the shelf. Put that back in front of, not just put it in front of your eyes again. Take it from the back of your head, take it from an afterthought, bring it to the forefront. And how am I going to get that done? And that's where I have them speak into their vision. You got to start surrounding yourself with people who are going to support you. There's going to
Yes.
be people who tell you, girl, I don't know why you're doing that. You should just sit down and relax. No, I don't want to sit down and relax. I've been working on my life. Now I want to do something for myself, and it's going to take some work. So
Right.
you want to start surrounding yourself with people who are going to be supportive. Speak life. There's a lot of times when we self-sabotage by saying things, you know what, I'm too old, I'm tired, all the different I can'ts and I don't want to.
Right.
You got to kill that noise. You got to shut it down. When you hear it, feel it rising up, you hear it in your head, or even you say it out loud.
Right.
No, no, no. We're going to turn those into empowering statements. I can do this. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. You want to, if you're a believer, bring your scriptures into it. If you're not, you just want affirmations, you start affirming yourself. Yes, I can do these things. Yes, I deserve to have the life that I would like for myself. Yes, I can say no and not feel guilty about it. So those are some of the steps. And the last part of my framework is to gosh, I forgot, just like that. Let me look at it real quick. Sorry.
No worries. And we can come
Oh,
back to
to
that. Oh,
execute
yeah.
with yeah,
Go
to
ahead.
execute with expectation for success. So be
Okay.
intentional about what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I like that. I like that framework because I know, and it's easier said than done because we've had 30, 40, some of us 50 years of programming this the way we should be doing things,
Mm-hmm.
like again by societal expectations. So we are having to reprogram how we think about our lives. And it doesn't happen overnight. I know for me, it took me a couple of years with constant, and I would do it at night. I would have my headset in and listen to it at night while I'm sleeping. So I got really deep in my subconscious. But that
Mm-hmm.
was my way of saying, okay, I have to, plus other steps that I took, but that was one of the ways that helped me
Right.
to come out of that programming of, okay, this is what you have to do. And like you said, not telling yourself, oh, you're too old now. So, you're 50, 50 plus, 60. You're too old. Just sit back and relax. And like you said, maybe I don't want to relax. Maybe I want to go, go, go and do what I want to do and relax when I want to relax.
Right.
Not relax because someone says, oh, you're too old right now. You shouldn't. No, 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 no.
Right.
So
Right.
I like, excuse me, I like your framework. That I can see how that can help so many women in different ways. So that's beautiful. So vision boards can sometimes feel surface level. How do
Mm-hmm.
you make the process deeper and more transformational?
Well, you're right. Vision boards, if you just put I want a new house, I want a new car, I want those wants, yeah, it
Yeah.
is going to be surface level. But what I do before we even get to those desires and those goals, who do you want to become as a woman in order to
Okay.
achieve those goals? So I have them, again, go through my Rise Up framework. We go through a series of questions and journaling. If
Mhm.
you are a little bit more reserved, and you know that you want to start selling something, then you need to become a woman who's going to be a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more, not even aggressive. Well, I'm going to say aggressive and assertive in the things that you want to get done. So that means a whole change in who you're going to be. Are you ready to do that? Are you ready to approach businesses and say, you know what, I have this product. Can you carry this in your store? Or, are you ready to talk to people about what you're doing? So sometimes it's a matter of who you need to become before you can even get those things that you want to get done. So I focus on that sort of thing, the mindset shift and the becoming before we get to the getting, and that's
Okay.
how I make it more transformational. So that's some of the things, and then I have it. I not only just do a vision board, but I have conversations where I host events where there's journal writing, and then there's sharing with the people at your table, or you bring a guest, whoever it is that's there. I make it very safe for the women to discuss exactly what it is, who they are now, and who
Mhm.
they want to become. And then we end up just establishing like a little, almost like a circle of friends
Yeah.
that are very supportive going forward. So that's one of the things I do before the vision board, and because you don't want it to devolve into, I just think I'm looking for that picture. I need to
Right.
know.
Right.
Give me
Right.
that picture. I want that. No, no, no,
Right. Because
no.
there's so much more to it than yeah,
Right.
just pasting and pinning pictures to a board.
Exactly. So I do bring all the pictures in the magazines, but I have them look for words that are describing who you're
Mhm.
going to be, words that are going to affirm your new you. And so that's one of the things I do.
Yeah, well, setting those intentions.
Right.
That's what I try and get women to understand, and when I work with them is, what are your intentions? Let's
Mm-hmm.
set some intentions, and then let's work on how we get there. It might be baby steps. And I like the example that you gave of, if you want to start a new business and you're shy, we're going to have to work out or help you move into an intention where you're able to walk up to someone and say, hey, because that was me. I would have never, and my husband will tell you, I would have never done a podcast. But with the work that I was doing, and then,
Right.
being afraid to, well, the judgment, or, how are people going to see me, and, worried about all those things. And
Right.
then now it's second nature. And I don't even worry about how people are going to see me, because I have gotten so much positive feedback,
Right.
that it has helped me bloom even more. So
Mm-hmm.
even as a coach myself, I'm still growing and I'm still learning, and we should always be growing and learning until the day that we're no longer here on earth. So
Well, that's one of the things that I'm going to agree with you on about learning, because as coaches, you don't know what you don't know
right.
until you start moving forward and moving further into the coaching practice. And so one of the things that I struggled with was the posting and the social media thing, which I've gotten better at. But that, I used to use it just to say, oh, look where I went this weekend, or I'm on this vacation. But when you start realizing that, oh, that's a way to reach out to people who may be interested in what I'm doing,
Right.
then it has a bigger intent to have people get to know me, to see what I'm doing, to maybe like me, to perhaps trust me and say, oh, you know what? I wouldn't mind working with her. Now, there's other ways too, of course, networking and that sort of thing, which I'm trying to get more into now. But again, when we start moving into the newness of who we are, you're going to have to make some changes in your life. You're going to have
Yes.
to, step out of your comfort zone. And it is definitely going to be uncomfortable because it's all new. If you've had a routine that you followed, what's coming the next day. If you do this, you're going to get that. But when you do stuff and you don't know what the
Yeah.
result is going to be,
Right.
it can be a little bit frightening,
Right.
And so
Exactly.
that's one of the things that I try to help the women embrace. Yes, it's going to be different. It's going to be new. It may be scary, one step at a time, one day at a time. Make sure you have people around you that you can say, girl, I don't know about this, but I'm going to keep doing it. That's the other thing. Try not to give up on yourself. You've got to learn how to show up for yourself, even when it's hard. If it's hard, all right, you stop for a minute, not, I've given it up, a minute, and just say, just recalibrate, reset. Okay, think, get that quiet moment where you can say, what am I doing here? And try not to, before you get so overwhelmed that you just give up.
And that's a good point, because we, as parents, as spouses, as even if we're single parents, we never gave up on our kids. We never gave up on, our community, or our relationships.
Mhm.
So why is that different? Why are we giving up on ourselves? We should be the last person to give up on ourselves. And we make it so easy because we want to fall back into, like you said, what's easy. And we
Mhm.
know we've been down that path, so we know what to look forward to. But trying to go down a new path, yeah, we were ready to give up. I mean, just a week ago, I was like, going, this entrepreneur stuff is, maybe I should just go back to corporate America. And then I was like,
Mm-hmm.
that's not my calling. I know I've
Right.
been in corporate America 30, 40 years, and I was never truly happy. I did what I
Mm-hmm.
had to do to help support my family, but it's like, no, this is something that, I know this was divinely brought to me. So this is what I'm going to stick with, even though I'm like, going,
Right.
this is, whoo, it's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
work. It's new. I don't know
It
what I'm
really is.
doing. It's new, but and then you push through it. And you're right. Sometimes you do have to just sit back and say, okay, I'm not going to worry about it today. I'm just going to, you know, let it be and then start up again and tomorrow.
Right.
But
Right.
not giving up because it is
Right.
easy
That's
to give up.
very easy. And like you said, well, like I mentioned earlier, I came out of the education system, and for a moment I thought, oh, you know what, I could go back, and do a little part-time gig with them. I said, no, if you go back into that building, you're going to be to encourage the students in the way of coaching, not to be teaching anybody, not to be observing teachers and stuff like that.
Right.
It would be, okay, I brought my coaching business to help you and your students. So I have to remind myself, like I said, a lot of times our default is easy to go back to.
Right.
Oh, this is not working. You know what? I'll just go back to what I was doing because this is not what I planned. It takes quite a bit of tenacity, a bit of determination. I'm not going to give up on myself. It's you are constantly talking to yourself, talking yourself off the ledge,
Right.
constantly.
Right.
And
Yes.
while as coaches, we have coaches, but the coach is not with you 24 hours,
Right.
so you have to
Exactly.
learn how to encourage yourself, believe in yourself, feel like, you know what, I can do this. And even in those moments when your head is laying on the desk and you're like, this ain't working. That's the moment. This is not what I thought it was going to be.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
that's the moment you say, like we're agreeing, I'm all right, I'm gonna stop for a minute or 5 minutes, but I'm not gonna stop altogether. So
No.
that's how pull yourself up. And then when you get the end result, you see, you know what? It was hard, but it was worth it. I accomplished this thing. And the other thing is to set small wins for yourself and recognize your wins. Don't take it for granted when you have made a contact or when you have gone to a networking event and the person reached out to you, or you've made you got a new email to add to your list. Those are small wins that you
Yeah.
constantly need to remind yourself. Yes, all right, it didn't go exactly the way I thought it was going to go, but I did this. Always counteract. This didn't quite work with, but this did.
But
And
this
I think
did.
that's another way to encourage yourself.
Exactly. Exactly. So, what mindset tends to sabotage women over 40 when they try to prioritize their own dreams?
Well, there's quite a bit. Sometimes they say I've lost myself and I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
Or they might say, you know what? I'm in my 40s or my 50s or maybe 60s and 70s. My best years are behind me. I don't have time for that right now. I'm just forget it.
Mhm.
Or I don't know my purpose. I can't figure out where to start. I don't know what to do. Or I've tried and I failed. I can't, I don't have the stomach for it anymore. I'm not doing it. Or I just can't pursue my dreams and take care of my family. So I won't do it. So these
Right.
are some of those mindsets that tell us no, that make us believe I can't do it. When we know that we can combat all of that and just make that first step. Even if you just get a journal out and start writing the things that you want to do. Oh, when my children are old enough to do such and such, I'm going to do such. Or I've always just brain dump, just free write all the things you want to do for yourself. And then start looking over that list and start maybe narrowing it down to, oh, I can start this now, even while I'm working. A lot of women, most women, I'm gonna take a step out there and say most people, when they start their businesses, they're still working. Most people don't quit their job and start a business. They have no idea of if it's going to work. So you can still be doing that simultaneously. You're working, you're committed to your career, etc. But you also have that little thing on this. Now I don't even want to call it little. You have that goal on the side. that you want to achieve, and you're working on it at the same time, so that at least you've gotten some footing into that thing once you decide to move on from your employment or
So do you
whatever it is that you're doing.
so do you think it's more about fear of failure or of being judged?
Um, mm, I think that kind of depends on what age group you're in. Like if you're in your 40s and your 50s, it might be a fear of failure. I'm working, I'm taking a chance. If people find out and it didn't work, I'm going to be embarrassed. Or do I really have the time to invest in the energy, the money, and the all of that, and then it doesn't work? So taking a risk might feel a little bit more dangerous, for lack of a better word, risky, when you are a little bit younger. I think when you're a little bit older, it becomes, you know what? I don't want to do the shoulda, coulda, wouldas anymore. I don't want the regret. The thought then becomes, well, I don't have anything to lose, so I might as well try it. So I think that's a little bit what the difference is. I don't think the older women are as afraid or as fearful as the younger, because the risk might carry more weight for the younger women versus someone a little bit older.
Right, right. I know for me it was it was more fear of, I think, getting out, of course, getting out in front of people was more being judged, because I was like going, I don't really know what I'm doing, and are they going to see, what they say, fake it till you make it, but are they going to see through that? So,
Yes.
I can understand that judgment, a fear of being judged, like, well, what are you doing now? Why are you trying to build a business at the time I started this,
Right.
57, 58?
Hmm.
Why are you trying so, just relax. So, yeah, that fear of being judged, at least for me, was a big one. What about you?
Well, I still sometimes experience that. So I'm careful about who I'm talking to, because again, it's a little bit of a combination of I don't feel like I'm gonna fail so much anymore. It's more the judgment of, oh, is that what you're doing? This kind of thing. And now, I'm in my 60s. You have to get into that mindset of, I don't really care what you think. I'm going to do this. I know God wanted me to do it, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
And so you just move forward, as difficult as it might be, as daunting in some of the activities that you have to do, as daunting as it might be, you still feel like, you know what, it's going to work. So
right.
you can judge me, you can make your opinion, you can talk about me, you're going to talk about me good or bad anyway. So what difference does it make? I don't care. I'm just going to keep
I'm gonna keep
just going to
doing
keep
it.
moving forward. So the fear is not there so much as, well, what are they going to think? And that's another people pleasing problem that we have to remind ourselves to stop doing as women. We're very concerned. Now, I'm
Yeah,
not sure if it's a cultural thing. I don't know why it is. Women seem to be more pulled into that people pleasing situation, which stops a lot of women because of that judgment. What are they going to say?
right.
Are they going to ask me questions that I can't answer? Or I'm not prepared to answer yet, or I don't want to answer yet. And then if I don't answer, the whole, what are they going to think? What are they going to say? Who are they talking to? We have to just shut down the noise and
Yeah,
just plod forward, regardless of what's being said about us.
exactly. So, how does faith influence the way you approach ambition and personal goals?
Well, I do believe that I was called to do this, so that's what drives me. I think it's a purpose that I have been given once I retired, because, like I said earlier, I was just going to write this humorous book that died. That died once I realized that I was going to do this coaching. And I got to tell you, I never heard about anything related to coaching when I was working. It was not on my mind at all. I didn't know anything about. I mean, I've heard the term life coach,
Right.
but I never considered myself to be someone who was going to step into that arena. And so I believe that because I was called, that God is directing me, He's putting me with the people who I need to be in front of or around to help this push this business forward. It's not about me being on stage. It's not about me delivering information to people. It's about how can God, through me, help women transform themselves. My goal is to help a woman see herself in a different light, transform herself, and then move forward because of that transformation. So I'm always believing, again, that God's going to put me in the right place with the right people. And so far, it's been working. Thank God that he's been leading me in that way. And then I also have to always be listening, and be discerning about people that I'm going to associate with, things I'm going to be involved with, because you don't want to get yourself involved in something that's really not helpful. So
Right.
I try to be careful about my associations and stuff like that, because it is a faith-based coaching business. And I'm not saying I'm going to not talk to certain people or anything like that, but I just want to hear, and let God lead me in the way I should be going.
Okay. So, what does thriving look like for a woman who refuses to choose between purpose and family?
Well, she begins to show up for herself, even as she's working with her family. And she tells her family, these are my dreams, and this is what I'm going to start working on. I would love your assistance. I would love for your support. Maybe you can help me distribute flyers for an event I'm doing, or maybe you can come with me to that networking event and just help me man my table and watch me do what I'm doing. She leads her home through example. Again, watch me do this so that when you go out there and do this, you'll have an idea. Or if she's a single woman living alone,
Mm-hmm.
she doesn't allow herself to degrade herself. She doesn't, that self-deprecating. That is not cute. I've learned that it's not cute.
Oh, it's not.
People don't want to hear that.
Mm-mm.
So when you feel that that's about to rise up in you knock it down.
Yeah.
So she thrives by always affirming herself, by even in her physical appearance. She does the best that she possibly can. When she walks out that door, you can do whatever you want in your house, but when you walk out the door, you walk out with confidence. And I'm
Right.
not saying you got to be rich and you have to have the design of this and no, but when you walk out, however you present yourself to the public, you are feeling confident about yourself, your back is straight, you're walking out there and you're ready to deal with the world. You're ready to
Exactly.
talk about the things that you're going to move forward in your life. You're ready to share your experiences. You're ready to share your story.
Right.
Um, and she's not competing with her family for her goals. They're getting equal attention,
Mm-hmm.
but you've again communicated that I need this for myself, and I'm
Right.
expecting you to respect that.
So, do you think thriving requires boundaries or belief shifts first?
I think it requires boundaries first, because you need to start learning how to say no. Even if it's, I mean, in your mind, yes, there is going to be a mind shift, because you have to believe that you can say no and people are going to respect it. So I want to say that boundaries start, but you have to have the mindset to set the boundary.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so perhaps it's the mindset first. I'm going to say, yeah, you're going to think about it first, because when we make moves as women, a lot of times we've been thinking about it for quite some time
Yeah.
before we tend to act on it. So I'm going to say I'm going to change that a little bit and say the mindset comes first and then the action, because you have to believe that once you speak that thing, it's going to happen. So once you start saying no, people will respect it. Once you decide you want to share with your circle of friends, your family, whoever is close to you, then you've decided already. Once you decide to make, so I'm going to say the mindset shift comes first,
I
and then
agree.
the boundaries.
Yeah, I agree. I agree because it's hard to. I mean, yes, you can set boundaries, but also, are you going to keep to those boundaries? And that requires a mind shift, and how you you know set the boundaries, focus on the boundaries, and then make sure that they stay in place. You don't fall back into those old habits. So it definitely, you have to have a different mindset in order to move forward and keep plugging along and keep those boundaries in place. So I do agree with that. It's a mind shift first. How do
Mhm.
you help women shift from surviving responsibilities to intentionally designing their lives?
Well, again, it goes back to the Rise Up framework, to keep that always at the forefront. When I do events, I give out a handout so that when the women go home, It's not just something that we're doing in that event. I give them a nice little booklet, or their journal entries are there. This is not school. I'm not collecting that.
Right.
you know, this is for you to take home and for you to constantly refer back to that and to make necessary pivots and changes along the way. Because in that moment, we're only spending a few hours with each other. When you go home and you've decided, yeah, I am going to begin to reflect, I am going to start, I'm going to read, or I'm going to ignite my vision, I am going to speak life, I am going to execute with the expectation for success. Now you have your basic, I'm going to call it an outline. Now you need to go home and start fleshing that out. What does that look for you in your life?
Right.
Because like I said, at the events that I have, we only have, like I said, 3 or 4 hours together, and one of those hours is spent, lunch, and another couple of minutes doing icebreakers and stuff like that, and getting to know each other. So we don't have a whole lot of time to just do it. But what I want is for the women to walk out with something that they know that they can look back on, other than a vision board, because
Right.
sometimes vision boards just lay down somewhere. But if you have that booklet, that when you get home, you say, let me see, what did I write? And you go back home and you start fleshing it out and further developing it. And then I do like follow-ups to see how you're doing with your Rise Up framework from the event that you attended.
Okay.
And I try to offer, private coaching or small group coaching and that sort of thing.
Nice. Okay. Okay. So what's the first small shift you usually guide them towards?
Reclaiming their selves as women. What is it
Okay.
that they want for themselves? Who are you, and how are you going to show up in that way? What are you going to change? What small change are you going to make? That's the first thing.
Yeah.
Getting your mind right, thinking about yourself, what you want. It's not a one and done. It's a
Right.
constant, yeah, it's something that you're constantly focusing on. You can't come to an event and say, oh, it was nice, but I don't think about it anymore. No, it's a constant, perpetual thinking, perpetual transformation, perpetual, how am I going to be a new person for myself? So that's the
Right.
first thing.
I like the way you said that. I like what you said. You said small shifts, and that's what we have to remember. It doesn't have to be this huge thing. Like I always say, you don't need to blow up your life. Let's
Right.
just take small steps, small shifts. What's something small that you want to change, or that you want to, you want a goal that you have for yourself. It doesn't have to be something that is so overwhelming that you just give up because it's too big. Small shifts. I'm going to take 15 minutes, like we said in the beginning. I'm going to take 15 minutes when I walk through the door just for myself. And I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
stick to it every day. When I get home from work, I'm going to take that time just for me.
Right.
So, yeah, the small shifts are what's important. And we have to remember that. We always want to think that there has to be this huge transformation all at once. And that's impossible because it becomes too overwhelming when we think about, this huge, transformation. Just take
Right.
small bits and pieces and make those changes on a small, small steps.
Also, I've spoken a lot about women who have families and spouses, etc. But as a single woman living alone, you still need that
Yes.
moment to
Right.
decompress. Don't turn the TV on yet. Just sit down and
Right.
give yourself, like, even I'm a widow. Actually, my husband died several years ago, and we didn't have children. And even though I live alone, I still sit in the car, for a few minutes, and I might be listening to music. I might be thinking a little bit
Right.
before I go into the house. So,
Right.
just find some type of strategy or technique that works for you, that will allow you to come back to yourself after you've given out to the world in whatever
Right.
way that you are, just to come back to yourself, reconnect, reset. And then you go into your house and you're like, okay, I can think now. I'm not angry, or I'm not frustrated at
Right.
the what life's given me for that day. And those are some of the shifts that you can make, just to give yourself a few minutes, give yourself permission to just be,
Yeah.
and start, allowing yourself to just let the day wash over you. It's over with. Let me connect with myself. What am I thinking? Get yourself some tea or whatever it is, whatever it is, you establish some way to pull yourself together so that you can function for the rest of the day or the week or however you set it up.
And I like what you said, about sitting in the car, because I think that's even a better idea, because then you can leave what the day has brought, you can leave that outside your home. So if you
Exactly.
have those 15 minutes, 20 minutes just sitting in your car decompressing, you leave that outside and you don't,
Hmm.
it doesn't cross that door when you walk into
Exactly.
your home. So that's
Mhm.
even a better idea than, because you have the quiet, you have your music, and hopefully the kids aren't, if you have kids, aren't running to the running to
Right.
the car. So it gives you that time to
Right.
really sit and just say, okay, I'm letting all this go. So when I
Hmm.
walk through that door, I can, give my attention to what I need to give my attention to. So
Hmm.
that's a great idea too. I was that's my mother used to sometimes do that. She would be sitting in the garage and we'd hear the garage door open and we knew but it would take her about 15 minutes to come upstairs. So that's what she
Right.
was doing.
Right. She was getting ready for shift number two, you
Right,
know?
right,
Hmm.
right. And if she were
Yeah.
still alive, I'd ask her, Mom, is that what you were doing?
Hmm.
I got you now. So,
Another thing, I'm sorry.
no, go right ahead.
Another thing I found helpful to me is to leave my home environment to go work. There's a coffee shop near me. I like
Mm,
to go in there. I order a sandwich and maybe a coffee or some latte or something like that. Bring my laptop and I sit there and work. It's a different environment, a
yes.
different vibe than your home environment. And even, even as a single person, I still go somewhere else to do some work. And it's just it lifts your spirits, it brightens things up a little bit, it gives you a
Mm-hmm.
different environment because I'm not thinking about, oh, I got to get that laundry and fold that up and I put this away. Oh boy, I forgot to
Right.
do, I got to check the mail. I can't do that because that's out of my home,
Right.
and so I'm totally focused on what I'm doing in that moment. So that's another option for women to just get out of your environment for a moment and find a
Yeah.
place, a Starbucks or a diner or wherever, a
Right.
park. You don't
Right.
have to go someplace where you have to spend money and just get some in the Northeast. We're finally warming up a little bit. So go someplace and sit down and just people watch. Sometimes that's refreshing, you
Yes.
know.
Yes.
Hmm.
It gets you out of that same humdrum um, uh, routine. It
Hmm.
gives you something different to look at, something different to think about. So yes, that's I need to do more of that because I am good at just sitting in my office and then oh yeah, I got to do that. Oh yeah, yeah. And also probably and it helps the creative juices flow when you get into a different environment,
Yes.
because you can see things differently, so
Yes, I
opens
agree.
up that, they call it the third eye. It opens up that third eye sometimes.
Hmm.
So if a woman feels like she squandered her time or put her dreams on pause for too long, where do you begin with her?
Well, first, I not help the woman acknowledge all the wonderful things that she's done. She's done. She may
Mm,
have lended her wisdom to a younger generation. She's raised her children. I remind her that she did not waste her time. She
right,
was on in survival mode, trying to
right,
manage her family, holding things together, holding her own life together, making sure she had a roof over her head. Help her see her own strength, her endurance, her resilience that she's gained along the way. So there's nothing that's a waste. You may feel like you didn't accomplish the things that you wanted to by a certain age or by a certain time, but you were in progress. You were still progressing. You were still doing the things that you needed to do to live life. So you want to help her reconnect with all the wonderful things that she's done and help her find those wins, help her find those successes that she's done in her life. Or if she has children finish school or if they're still school age, how are they doing in school? Are they, we don't get into that, but the fact that you're managing your home and
right,
you're doing well with that, don't feel like it was a waste. I've lost. No, you haven't lost. You were managing and
right.
you were organizing and you were living life as a woman responsible with many responsibilities that maybe you've taken on or maybe were assigned to you unexpectedly.
Yeah.
So that's one of the ways that I would help her do. And then once we get her to acknowledge that, yeah, she's been a great manager, then we start looking at her interests. Then we start looking at her gifts, her callings, and who she wants to become in this point in her life.
So what do you say to the woman who believes it's just simply too late? She's too old.
You're going to start with that day. You're going to look back for a minute, and then you're going to go forward. Today, what is it that you want to do? You're not too old. You're still breathing. You're still living. You can do
Right.
all the things that you want to do, or as many of them as you can get to as possible. Or just pick one thing that you want to get done. Like everybody has this bucket list. What's on your bucket list to accomplish before you die? What is it that you want to get done? And start working towards that thing. Those
Right.
little steps, start today. If you could get this done by such and such a time, what would that be? What's that one thing that you always wanted to do that you just haven't gotten to yet? So let's start working on that today. Don't feel like, oh, it's too late. I'm old. It's that. No, no, no. Let's start today.
Thank you. Thank you. I know that's a lot of, especially us 50 plus ladies. I mean, and in the 60s, we look at ourselves because, especially in our culture in America, we're not valued as much as
Right.
we should be. Our knowledge is not valued, our wisdom is not valued as much as it should be, and that
Mhm.
needs to change. But we have to be the initiators of the change and realize that we have a lot to offer just in our wisdom and our value and our more calm demeaning spirit that that it took years of living to get to where we are, and not everybody can say
Right.
that. So those of
That's
us who
right.
are still here, we have to appreciate what we have to offer
Right.
you know
Very true. Very true. Yeah, I just wanted to also add, sometimes women may not be clear on exactly what it is they want to do. That's when you start finding those networking events or
Right.
ladies' luncheons or,
Right.
all kinds of things. Again, you're in California, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So like we have in the Northeast, there's all kinds of women's events, all kinds of fun things to do. But start again, this is stepping out of your comfort zone. If you're a person that says, I don't meet any new friends. Yeah, well, you don't have to, they don't have to be your best friend, but it can expose you to other
Right.
things that you may not have ever considered.
Right.
So be open. Like you mentioned, always learning. Be open to learn how to interact with other people, regardless of your age. Because if you're a person who's been working for 30, 40 years and you had that routine of getting up at 7, getting to the office by 9, getting off at 5, coming home dinner, you're in the house for the rest of the day. That might be a new step for you to just get to know new people, and perhaps you may have retired or you may have moved on from your job, but your friends may still be working. So now you
Right.
may need to create a whole new circle, a whole new social circle. And one of the ways to do that is getting out there, learning new people. You can do it on social media as well, learning how to operate on social media and that sort of thing. Learning the technology. I'm not
Right.
saying you want to be an AI genius or anything like that, but learn
Right.
some
Learn some
basics of
basics.
technology,
Exactly.
and that will open up another world to you as well.
I know for me, doing this podcast that was one of the things that was so exciting to me, to be able to network and get to know, other women who are in my age range and just hear their stories and learn
Mhm.
about, and it opened me up to so much more
Right.
that was out there. So this is also my way of networking and getting to know other women. So this has been, a true pleasure for me to be able to talk to a lot of wonderful, women and hear their stories and learn from them. So, but Ari, I want to thank you again for coming on. This has been an amazing story, amazing hearing, what you're doing for the community and the women out there in your area. So I will have her information in the description below. So please check out her website. And do you have any events or anything coming up that you want to share? And do you
I
do any
will.
online events?
Well, I was just about to announce I'm going to be doing an online event on May 1st. It's
Okay.
going to be something similar to like a mid-year pivot,
Okay.
reviewing goals that you've set at the beginning of the year and some changes you might need to make, as the year goes forward. So it may be called spring into pivoting or mid-year pivot. I haven't fully fleshed out the name, but as soon as it's fully settled, I will send you the information so that you can let your viewers know. But it
Okay.
will be on, I believe May 1st is a Friday evening, and it will be online. It'll be one of my first online type of sessions.
Okay, wonderful. Well, then, yes, I will look forward to that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I'd love to have you on again
Hey.
to have more conversation because this is important. It's important for women of our age to come together and understand that we should all be working together
Mhm.
and to make some changes. It's not just about changing within yourself. It's also once you've changed within yourself, how can we change what's going on in the world as best we can?
Yes.
there needs to
And
be some
thank
more
you.
there needs to be some more female energy changing what's going on right now.
Very
So
true. And it was absolutely my pleasure to have this opportunity to come and speak to your viewers and share
yeah.
a little bit about what I do. And I look forward to working with you another time as well.
All right, my love. Well, thank you again. And you guys, thank you for joining us. And yeah, check out her information in the description below. And I will see you again real soon. If something in today's conversation spoke to where you are right now, I'd love to support you through my one on one coaching or invite you into our live monthly conversations. All of the links are in the description below.